Good morning, greetings, friends, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I am your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your health and vitality and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body, you are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health challenge. That is why we are here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 32 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, skin diseases like psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, acne, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds. Recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle. But what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing system. It's a regenerating system. It is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while some folks may call that a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, if you or a loved one is dealing with a health challenge you want help with, if you've got questions or comments about the longevity business or our True Skin Health products, or if you just want to share a success story, 844-236-6010 is our number. 844-236-6010 is our number on the Bright Side. We'll get your calls. In our next segment, we've got a guest at the bottom of the hour. Kevin Murphy is a former Wall Street managing director, as well as a athlete, a high school and collegiate wrestling champion, community activist, a speaker, a coach, and author. He's the author of a really interesting book about the power of the mind called The Three Rooms. You guys know that I love talking about the power of the mind and the power of the spirit and the emotions and the multiple dimensions of good health, spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. Kevin's got a really interesting take on the impact the mind has on our bodies and on our lives, and he also has some very interesting personal experiences to share. We'll be talking to Kevin Murphy at the bottom of the hour. And we'll get to your phone calls in our next segment. If you want to check out Kevin's website while you're listening to The Bright Side, if you're on the internet, let's see where his website is. I got it right here somewhere. It's called the3rooms.com. The3rooms.com. The THREE rooms. The word rooms. All right. Welcome back to The Bright Side. We're talking about energy. It's all about energy. You know, you hear the word stress a lot when it comes to health and nutrition, about people being stressed or cellular stress, and indeed all health challenges have this element of stress underneath. But what is stress really? But stress meaning at the cell level or at the body level, whatever system is being stressed, it doesn't have enough energy. It's all about energy. Health is energy. And understanding how the body gets energy is so important. Health challenges are the end result of energy deficits at the level of the cell. When there's energy deficits at the level of a cell, the entire stress system, not just the nervous system, but the entire stress system kicks into gear. Of course, it starts with the stress nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is activated by a deficit in energy, a lack of energy, because the digestive system is where the energy gets into the body in large part. Respiration is important too, but the most of it is through the digestive system. That's why we always focus on digestive health. It's not because I'm some kind of foodie. David Avocado Wolf. I like David Wolf. You may have heard of David Wolf. He writes a lot about nutrition, but he's like a iconic, almost stereotypical caricature of a nutritionist, and there's a lot of them out there. And it's not really about, when I focus on the digestive system and food, it's not because of, it's not a caricature. I'm not a foodie. It's because this is how the body obtains energy. And energy comes in two forms. It comes in a slow form and a fast form. You always want slow-burning energy to come into the body. That's why protein and fat are the way you want to get your energy rather than carbohydrates if possible. We get way too many highly explosive forms of energy. Not only do we not get enough of the quality slow-acting energy, protein and fat, but on top of that, because these things are slow-acting because it's all trapped, and so it requires a little bit more complicated digestive machinery. Because we don't get the digestive machinery, many of us are suffering at the level of digestive machinery. We don't get the energy we need from those fats and proteins. And most of us are subsisting on super high energy carbohydrates, which the body doesn't like. So last program we talked about the importance of stomach acid. We've been talking about the importance of stomach acid for helping the body process fats. The stomach is the first major place where energy is going to be released, and this requires some chemical processing as well as mechanical processing. The chemical processing in the stomach is hydrochloric acid and digestive enzymes. And guess what? Many people don't make enough hydrochloric acid or digestive enzymes, especially as we get older. Deficiencies in hydrochloric acid in particular can be problematic. Well, both of them. Hydrochloric acid has to activate the enzymes. They work together. We'll just assume that they go together. Without hydrochloric acid and digestive enzymes, by the way, you're more prone towards infections, bacterial infections, parasitic kinds of things, because one of the roles of the acid is to kill things. But the real big problem when you don't have a hydrochloric acid and digestive enzymes is you're not going to absorb your nutrients. You're not going to be able to break up your foods to release their energy. And this will happen with fats, it will happen with protein. And by the way, when it happens with protein, when you don't digest your protein at the level of the stomach, when your stomach is not making enough digestive enzymes or it's not making enough acid at the level of the stomach, this is where big health challenges begin. I'm talking autoimmune diseases. Autoimmunity begins at the level of the stomach. You notice I didn't say the digestive system. We always talk about that. But I'm saying specifically at the level of the stomach, which is why if you're dealing with an autoimmune disease, you want to make sure you're on digestive enzymes. You want to make sure you're producing enough hydrochloric acid or using hydrochloric acid supplements or apple cider vinegar for that matter. Although if I had an autoimmune disease, I'd go with HCl drops, get a pharmacist to make them for you, and make sure you use digestive enzymes. Make sure you take enough of them. Experiment with your digestive enzymes. Take them on an empty stomach as well as with meals. So the stomach is where the first release of energy comes from. In the case of protein, if proteins are not completely broken down, they will not. They will likely remain in a less than amino acid broken down form. Proteins are built up of amino acids, and then those amino acids get strung together to form something called peptides. And then proteins are masses of peptides wrapped around each other. That's the difference between a protein and a peptide, by the way, if you ever wondered. A protein is a long bunch of peptides that have kind of wrapped around in different shapes. Proteins are ridiculously amazing. Unbelievably amazing. They're made up of these long chains of peptides, which in turn are made up of long chains of amino acids, and all that has to be broken down in the stomach. If it's incompletely broken down, what ends up happening is you get these chunks of protein, or peptides really, and it's these chunks of peptides that initiate autoimmune disease problems. These chunks of peptides represent insects and other invaders. And so they mobilize immune system reactions. Peptides represent life. And when a peptide gets into the blood, it looks like an invader has gotten into the blood, to the body. When an amino acid gets into the blood, that's used. But when a peptide gets into the blood, it can activate major defenses. It's like red alert, like that. Remember that program, that old kids show, Lost in Space? Warning, Will Robinson! Warning, warning, warning! That's what happens when a peptide that's incompletely digested gets into the blood, and that sets off a big problem. It happens once or twice. That's not the end of the world. But when it happens over and over and over and chronically for months and for years and for decades, eventually all that toxicity and all that immune system activity creates havoc. That's called an autoimmune disease. If you ever wondered why that happened, so what's the answer? Work at the level of the stomach. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. Got lines open. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll get your calls in our next segment. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. Okay, we're back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Got lines open. 844-236-6010. 844-236-6010. If you have questions about anything we're speaking about here today, the longevity products, longevity business, our Truth Skin Health products, which are all available at truthtreatments.com. We got, it just ran out. We had free shipping for the weekend, but it just ran out 20 minutes ago. We do Instagram Lives, by the way. If you're on Instagram, sign up or follow us at Truth Treatments. And you'll get our Instagram Live notifications, and we do specials. When we do an Instagram Live, we had a free shipping special that just expired about 20 minutes ago. But just get on there and follow us. I'll talk about lots of good skin health stuff. I've been in the skin business for 35 years. I cannot even believe that myself. That's when I formulated my first skincare product in 1983, working for the Blistex Corporation, working for the guy who invented Blistex as a work-study student in pharmacy school. That was quite a background. Anyway, I know in the last 35 years, I've developed quite a repertoire of information and formulation understanding about how the skin works, and all that understanding is put to good use. It's actually the culmination of all my understanding is the our Truth Treatment products, which are all available at truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. We'll get your calls here momentarily. I just want to read one story here, which I thought was interesting. Speaking of the skin, if I could find it. I don't know where I put it, actually. Well, I'll just tell you what it was. I can't seem to find it now that I need it. It was about a vaccine for acne. Here it is. Why hasn't science solved acne yet? Dermatologists are cautiously optimistic that a new vaccine could work better than so many other flawed treatments. We talk about heart disease and cancer and autoimmunity and all these digestive health issues, and these sound like serious issues compared to acne. But you know what? From a psychological point of view, for a teenager or for an adult acne or teenager acne can be psychologically debilitating. It's pretty serious stuff. And even more importantly, if you're dealing with adult acne, understand that it's not a skin issue. It's not a cosmetic issue, I should say. Yes, it may be cosmetically unappealing, and you may not like the way it looks, but it's a sign of serious disturbances at the metabolic or biochemistry level. It's not something to be vaccinated for, and it's not the bacteria that are the problem. They want to put a vaccine. Never mind the problems with vaccines, the crap they put in vaccines. That's a whole nother issue. If you have acne, it's not an issue. It's not a concern for the doctor or the dermatologist, and it has nothing to do with. It's not about vaccination from bacteria. It's about working at the level of the hormones, which means working at the level of the food. Hormones, sometimes you hear people talk about hormonal acne. Hormonal acne is kind of a silly term because everything's hormonal acne because everything's hormonal. However, there is food acne, and that is how hormones are manipulated. So you can have, everything's hormones, but really what you want to do if you have hormone problem, that doesn't help you to know it's hormonal acne. If you have hormonal acne, you have food acne. That helps you because that you can work with. And digestive health in addition to food. And that's how you want to address all health challenges. And I know I'm running the risk here with every day that I talk about food and the digestive system of being a one-trick pony. And, that Ben here just talks about digestion and food for everything. Well, guess what? It is everything, including and especially skin health problems, by the way. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. Got Kevin Murphy coming up at the bottom of the hour, so we'll take your calls this segment. Let's see what my buddy Carl, the Truth Raider, has to say. What's up, Carl? How you doing?
Good Monday morning, Ben. Yeah, I want to talk about exfoliation. I had a very unusual experience with exfoliation. What's going on?
Not exfoliation, exfoliation.
Exfoliation, okay.
There you go.
These words.
You know what it means? Hang on just one quick second. Exfoliation, it means to remove the leaves off of the skin. Folia comes from foliage. Exfoliate means to take the leaves off, because if you look at it under a microscope, it kind of looks like there's leaves that are flaking off when you exfoliate. And just like when you trim your leaves, you get a bushier bush. When you exfoliate, you get bushier skin. You get thicker, stronger, better, healthier skin. So it's very important to exfoliate. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
What's going on? I'm getting a body peel. And what's going on is on the areolas of my nipples, on my chest. I never had this before in my life.
Do you really need to go there, Carl, the Truth Raider?
They pulled off. I mean, I couldn't believe the skin peeled off. Oh, I said, what's this? It's black.
You're going to have nice new nipples, Carl. Is that why you called? Thank you for sharing. All right. Yeah. I'm going to try. I want to see if we get one more call here from Santa Cruz. Don't mean to hang up on you, but goodbye for now. Tony in Santa Cruz, good morning. What's up, buddy?
Oh, really?
Tony. What's up, Tony?
Oh, really? Hey, I'm 83 this morning.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
You don't sound a day over 82 in 364 days. You sound exactly like you sounded yesterday. Isn't that interesting how the little man inside us is always the same no matter how old we are?
That is very true.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that little voice, I don't know if it's a man, but the little voice, isn't that the same voice that was there when you were 10 and 20 and 30 and 40?
No. 18. I'm starting to chase women again.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm not
okay. Well, I know there's a lot of eligible septuagenarian ladies in Santa Cruz.
Absolutely. I met a lot of them yesterday in Monterey. Anyway, okay. I was wondering, I had a fantastic gas problem last week. I traveled down to San Diego, came back. It doesn't bother me because I'm living alone, but do you miss out on nutrition when you create this tremendous volumes of gas most I've ever had?
Well, tremendous volumes of gas are a sign of malabsorption of something that's not getting processed correctly. A little bit of gas is pretty normal, but a little bit.
This is fantastic. This is awesome.
Yeah. No, if it's fantastic, I don't know if I'd describe it that way, but anyway, that's an issue. That's a malabsorption issue. That's a sign of dysbiosis, maybe messed up gut bacteria. Sometimes if you eat the wrong food, especially sugary, starchy foods, you can throw off the bacterial flora pretty quickly, and that can definitely do it. Some people have a problem with just fiber, just plain old fiber. They'll get gassy. That's a sign that there's some stuff going on, definitely. I'd be getting on a really dense probiotic supplement for a while, maybe 100 billion units a day, eating fermented things like kimchi. Get yourself some kimchi and start munching down on that. Go to the health food store.
But I've been doing all those things.
Oh, you have? You still have the problem?
Lots of fermented
you may be doing too much. You may be doing more than you can handle. That might be. You may be doing too much. You also might have some acid problems. Acid can also create changes in the gut bacteria that can lead to that. So maybe things like hydrochloric acid or apple cider vinegar with your meals, digestive enzymes, working at the level of the stomach, which precedes the intestine. Have you heard of this thing called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, SIBO?
No, sir.
No, okay. Well, you will be. That's one of those.
I've been doing all these things. Eating a lot of probiotics.
I back down off the probiotics for one. If you've been doing a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. And then are you doing
a lot of apple cider vinegar? Too much, maybe.
No, I don't think that would do it. No, I don't think the apple cider vinegar would do it. But the probiotics, maybe it's an outside chance. You've been and it just came on all of a sudden.
Yes. It's the most I've ever had in my...
That sounds like something you're doing. You're doing rather than something gradual. Got to go, Tony. Hope I helped you out, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, man. All right. We are going to talk to Kevin Murphy in our next segment. He's the author of a really cool book called The 3 Rooms. Check it out at the3rooms.com. We'll take a commercial break and come back with Kevin Murphy, author of The 3 Rooms, right after this. We are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, 24/7 on the archive pages at benfuchsarchives.com and brightsideben.com. If you miss a program, you want to review a program, if you want to share a program with somebody or on a specific topic, we have search engines up at benfuchsarchives.com and brightsideben.com. And, of course, you can purchase longevity products at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. Or you can call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470 for more information. Albert Einstein said the most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science. I love that quote because the mysterious is all around us, and we are oblivious to it at our own, unfortunately, to our own ultimate harm and hurt. By not experiencing the mysterious, not only do we deprive ourselves of the source of all true art and science, but we really become held hostage to it in a way. And by that I'm referring to the mysteries of the mind. We are held hostage to the mysteries of the mind if we do not at least begin to observe it in action. And that is what my guest, Kevin Murphy, in his book, The Three Rooms, talks about. Change your thoughts, change your life. I know you've all heard that before. Many of you have heard that before. It's been out there in the zeitgeist since the 1920s or 1930s at least, with Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich, etc. But Kevin really presents a very interesting twist and really simplifies the whole subject, and he does it in a very, very compelling way in his book, The Three Rooms. Please welcome to The Bright Side, Kevin Murphy. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Ben. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to talk to you again.
Thank you for having me on.
So listen, a couple things before we get into the book. One of the most important things I think about your message is your background, your history. You're a former Wall Street managing director. You're a wrestling champion. You're a community activist. And you do a lot of things in the profane world and the mundane world, but you bring a lot of really esoteric information to bear in your book, The Three Rooms. And I think that gives you a lot more credibility, by the way.
Well, thank you for that. And a lot of it, people originally thought from the corporate world where I came from, I found some humor in people saying, "Oh, I heard that Kevin's writing a book, and it must be a Wall Street tell-all book or an option strategy book." And I would say, "Well, it's not quite." And I think we all have personal experiences that we go through. And, I had a 33-year career on Wall Street, but through that there was a lot of mergers, and in each merger you learn a lot about yourself and about other people, and then you couple that with personal experiences that you have. I started to look within a lot for answers because I certainly wasn't getting a lot of answers from other people and from outside that really satisfied me. And it is that looking within process where you start to come to some certain types of realizations. And I think everybody, and as you kind of alluded to, there's so much information about consciousness-minded lifestyles, and people hear things about the mindfulness and living in the present and being in the now, and there's all truth to that. And so people understand how important it is to monitor your thoughts, but we just don't do a very good job at it. And I think that was the purpose of The Three Rooms, is to try to make it a little bit more simple.
Hey, would you say mindfulness is the same thing when you talk about observing your thoughts? Would you say mindfulness is really being mindful of your thoughts, or is it being mindful of everything, or is it being mindful of your body, or is it what exactly do you mean by mindfulness? And by the way, you do know, I'm sure you know this, that Johns Hopkins University and UCLA School of Medicine and Yale School of Medicine are all using mindfulness for their physicians as a way of healing the body. So when you say mindfulness, are you referring to the body, you're referring to the mind, you're referring to your experiences? What are you referring to exactly? Or observing, I should say.
It really does include all of the above, but just looking at your thoughts, I look at mindfulness as the conscious awareness of your thoughts. And so to simplify it, and the real premise of The Three Rooms is that our experience of life is not based on what we do for a living or what we have. It's based on what we think. And our thoughts can only be in one of three places. They can be in the past, or the past room. They can be in the future, or the future room. Or they can be in the present, or the present room. And whichever room your thoughts are in determines your experience of life in that moment. So the key is to know which room your thoughts are in. And in order to do that, you need to observe your thoughts. And it is but it's that active observation that separates your awareness from your thoughts. So you're no longer at the effect of your thoughts. And that awareness is that consciousness that all the mystics have always talked about, that divine consciousness, that Christ consciousness, or that Buddha consciousness. That's what you want to connect with, and it's all about that awareness.
Okay, like that's a ton of great stuff there. So, and I don't even know where to begin. But the first thing that I think of when you say that is there's this element of us that's observing. That, and I was kind of talking. I talked to my last caller. I don't know if you heard me talking about it. There's an observing element that's always there. Correct?
That's correct. But sometimes, a lot of times, we're not aware.
No.
That we're observing. And
we're not meta-observing. We're observing our life, but we're not observing the observing.
Correct. And observing your thoughts simply by knowing which room your thoughts are in, that is metacognition. That is being, thinking about your thoughts.
Yeah,
and if you think about it, just simply being able to answer the question, which room are my thoughts in, or where are my thoughts, you have already separated your awareness from your thoughts.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, Gurdjieff used to talk about, you know who I'm talking about, the philosopher, or whatever you want to call him, Gurdjieff, used to say, as soon as you recognize that you're not thinking about yourself, you're not thinking, or that there's this element that's watching, this I element that you're talking about. As soon as you realize that you're not thinking about that, that your attention is on your world and not on the observer, it's external rather than internal, you become internal. As soon as you recognize, right?
Yeah, and it's like Descartes said, the great question of who am I? And when people look within, they say, who am I? They're not talking about the I that everybody else sees, because they know who that is. They're not saying, I was a fireman yesterday. I mean, who am I today? Am I a cop, or am I a doctor?
Right.
You know who you are. It is, who am I on the inside? Who is this person? Why did I say that?
It's better than that, though, and this is the problem. It's what am I? It's not a who. It's a what.
This is true, and
right?
It's similar. And
well, it's not, because if we say who, it becomes an identity. Who is an identity? What is a thing? It's just this mystery, right? But who, all of a sudden, you're looking for another version of you, like a smaller version or an internal version of you. But there's a what. It's not you at all. It's a thing of some kind. I can't tell you what it is, but it's a thing of some kind, right?
Yes, and I think we, when you answer the question, let's just say, what am I, or if you think of the question, who am I, that's the I that everyone else sees is always changing. And you may be a student today, now you're working, tomorrow, then you got laid off and you're no longer, working there. And that's always changing. But, who you are on the inside, or what you are, never really changes. We actually say, I am sad, I am happy, I am Joe. We actually say, hey, we got to take a break, but I want to talk about how all this, this has to do with cancer and heart disease and autoimmunity and acne and psoriasis and all the things we suffer from a health perspective, and I'm sure there's a link. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're talking to Kevin Murphy about his book, The 3 Rooms. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. Okay, we are back on The Bright Side. We're talking to Kevin Murphy. His book is The 3 Rooms, and his website is the3rooms.com. Before we went to break, Kevin, we were kind of getting a little bit abstract, but I think it's important to do that, talking about this ineffable watcher, what thing that's back in the back of your head, and just you were saying how just by observing it and seeing which room you're in, you can go a long way towards improving your life, I imagine you'd say. But how does this relate to physical health issues? Well, I think when it comes to health, Ben, it's you can't underestimate the power of thoughts and emotion. And when you think of things, if you look at cancer and you look at, one is from the prevention side, the thoughts and emotions can really help you in a preventative way. And from a treatment or a healing, it's the marrying of your thoughts and emotions can go a long way towards health. And really, one word can make all the difference in your thoughts and emotions. And it's what you add to the I am. And you mentioned that kind of an I am statement. Some people say, I am not this, or I am not that. And so if your desire is to be healthy, whether you already have been diagnosed with something or not, and you're saying, the thought of I am healthy is, the I am is defining, that's your awareness of being. And
what you say after I am. What you say after the I am.
It is everything, and what we tend to do is say, I am not. And so you want to be healthy, but you've been diagnosed with some form of cancer, and you keep in your mind saying, I am not healthy now. And that's because that's what they've said. And I've got to get sick, I got to get better, and I have to do all these things. And in your head, you keep saying, I'm not healthy now, and you keep telling people, I have cancer. I'm not healthy. And that not continues is the biggest hindrance to us actually achieving that which we desire, which is health. And so we need to remove the not. And what you're left with is I am. Now, I am healthy is so much more powerful than I am not healthy.
Right.
But still, it's not enough. If you don't believe it, then it's just words. Like if you truly feel like you're not healthy and you're all stressed out about it,
just say
saying
words.
I'm healthy, but you still feel like you're not doesn't matter. So substituting not with one other word, already. I already am healthy. And now you've just shifted from a place of healing sometime in the future to a place from which you are already healed. I already am healthy. If you just start to say that a few times, it does something. It hits you inside. It moves you, and you say, wow, I already am. And think about that. You start thinking of it from a place of health instead of the health being out there.
Let me ask you something, though. What's the difference between I am healthy and I am already healthy?
It's in the belief of it. It helps you believe it more.
By saying the word already.
But I already makes it seem like it has already happened. And it's very simple. If you believe it, you can say, I am healthy. And if you truly believe it, then it is the marrying of the thoughts and emotions that makes it happen and heals. And this is what, you have the three amigos, Dr. Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza, and these guys talking about epigenetics, how the thoughts affect your biology and neuroplasticity and how your thoughts affect the brain. And when you look at all of the cases of spontaneous remission, when people are, of all different types of,
how about placebo effect? How about the placebo effect?
Well, and the placebo effect is just a phenomenal phenomenon, which it is a belief that it is going to work, and that is how, and a lot of these doctors, that's what got them so intrigued. Like, how is it possible that a placebo works, in many cases as well as drugs?
Right.
So, but it can't just be the thought; it has to be marrying the emotion. And in each room, when I talk about the future room and the present room, it's not just which room your thoughts are in, but how it makes you feel. And the healing always takes place in the present room. That is where you're connected to the ultimate reality, the divine creator and the source. And when you look at all those spontaneous remissions, the one thing that all of those people have in common, they all believe that there is a power greater than them that is doing the healing.
And
so whatever it is, that's not religious, and that's everything. It's just there is a power greater than them.
I call it the divine intelligence. That's all you need to know.
I agree.
It's divine
whatever
you want it to be.
And it's always in the present room.
Yeah.
And
it's always
it's the thought of I am not that pulls us out.
Okay, let me ask you something. Does thought itself... And by the way, I love this link of thought and feeling. I think it should be one word. It's like two sides of a coin, heads and tails. One leads to the other, which leads to the other, which leads to the other. So I like the way you did that. But as far as this present room goes that you're talking about, does thought itself take you out of the present room? Is the present room before thought?
Absolutely. We came into this world. I mean, we from this, let's call this divine intelligence that we all came from, and now we're here. And you look at a baby, be like little children. When you look at the pure joy of a child, and what makes them start to stress out, or what makes them start thinking, and it's just thought. So, what is meditation? I mean, meditation is invaluable because it is the absence of thoughts. It brings you back into the present room.
Well, here's a couple things I was going to tell you. Present means before thought, right? Present. pre-sense, sentience, before thought. So present itself to me implies before thought. But then I was just reading about Sam Darnold, the football player. Have you heard about him?
Sure. He's going to be playing tonight for the Jets.
Great. He's a meditator.
Did you know that?
Yeah, he's a big time meditator, and he went to sport. He one of his best one of his gurus, I guess you'd say, is a sports psychologist who uses meditation. Russell Wilson meditates. But I mean, high-powered people use meditation as a tool. High-powered people use all the tools that they can get, and meditation is such a wonderful tool. Talk about that real quick, and I want to ask you. Well, we're not going to have time, but just talk about meditation real quick, how that works and plays into this whole thing.
Well, once again, meditation is the absence of thoughts, and so when we want to connect to that, that higher consciousness, that literally makes everything possible for us. It's only our thoughts that pull us in either direction, and when we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. It's constantly pulling us all over the place, and it's our perception of those thoughts too that cause those emotions and those negative emotions. And so, from a meditation standpoint, to be able to be aware of your thoughts and be able to accept the thoughts, because we want inspired ideas, we want those thoughts to come in, and that comes from that point of meditation once you quiet the mind. But people give meditation so little chance because they sit down and they're kind of constantly thinking of things, and I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, yeah, I've tried meditation, but it doesn't work for me.
I love
it's
that.
Not that it doesn't work, it's just you haven't given it much of a time, and all of these other resistance thoughts keep coming into your head, and they're bombarding you. But once you start to repel those resistant thoughts, all of a sudden, and you quiet the mind, then the inspired ideas start to come. And that's what you want to let in.
And the great irony of it is so pleasant and blissful. It's the best vacation ever to just think some good thoughts, to actually just go out and think good thoughts, to visualize good thoughts, to hear a good voice in your head. It feels so beautiful. You secrete more oxytocin, more serotonin, more dopamine. You reduce your cortisol. I mean, from a biochemical standpoint, from a sheer bliss standpoint, just controlling your thoughts is like the best vacation you could ever take. I wanted to talk to you about my favorite chapter in the book, which is the movie theater. If you could talk about it really, really quickly, and then give a plug for your website and anything else you're doing.
Okay, well, I think the movie theater is probably the most important chapter in the whole book, because it is our experience of life. It is how our thoughts and emotions, what we project out, what that creates for us, and that is that experience that we are all going through. And whether we admit it or not, we are all actors in the movie of our life.
Shakespeare said that.
As we're going through that, and this is what we are experiencing, and it is all based on what we're thinking and what we're feeling in any moment. And so we're constantly stressed.
It's the background music. You think it's the soundtrack? Our thoughts are the soundtrack of the movie of our life?
This is true, and it's what we're projecting out, and that's what we're seeing, and we're participating in that.
Hey, real quick, we're out of time, Kevin. Real quick, tell us your website and any presentations you're doing, how people can get a hold of you.
Sure, it's www.the3rooms.com. It's on Facebook and Twitter.
Do you do presentations?
Murphy 3R and
YouTubes. Do you have any YouTubes or presentations?
No YouTubes yet, but they should be coming.
All right, good. So good to talk to you, Kevin. Thanks so much. The book is The 3 Rooms. Author Kevin Murphy. Thanks for listening to The Bright Side. Have a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.